Fall racing continues, and this time we go to the Big Apple, New York, for the Grade 1 Cigar Handicap. Yes, it's at the Big A, and we have an 11-horse field for this Grade 1 race. Always interesting because it falls a few weeks after the Breeders' Cup, and we do have the Breeders' Cup Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile winner, and we'll also see what Maximum Security does in his second attempt against older horses. Those are the two big names. But this 11-horse field is very competitive, and you couldn't make the case it could possibly be an upsetter, especially if we get a strong pace and Maximum Security has to face a full field with some mid-race pressure. Let's start at the rail, and we've got the venerable, everybody's favorite Whitmore, the king of Oaklawn Park. He finds it difficult at other places in the nation, but Whitmore seems to be coming back around, enjoying a solid 6-year-old campaign, and he's 1 for 6 this year. He also brings a 12 for 30 lifetime record. Overall, I got to say Whitmore is probably not at the top of his game, but he is still competitive in races like this. And I've actually was kind of hoping to see him in a 1-mile race again. You know, he tried to stretch out when he was a 3-year-old at Oaklawn on that Derby trail. And I just kind of have a feeling getting back to that 1-mile distance when he's in form, I think his kind of a 1-turn mile would ultimately probably be his best distance, and possibly 7 furlongs. He is a Grade 1 winner, so you always have to respect that form. But Whitmore right now, 8-1 on the morning line. Joel Rosario in the saddle. Bale Harbor, 0 for 6 this year. Todd Pletcher trains. Bale Harbor trying to cut back to that 1-mile distance and take on classier horses at this Grade 1 level. He's kind of going to be a toss on some of my tickets. Meanwhile, Forewarned is 30-1. Ambitiously being spotted here. He doesn't really have the form to back up a race like this. 3 for 10 this year, and I'm going to pass on Forewarned in this spot. Don't think he has the pace to keep up, and I don't think he has the late stick and kick to come in down the lane. Meanwhile, Pat on the Back has put together some good efforts against New York breds. Now he faces Open Company. He is in form. He does like Aqueduct and New York Circuit, but he's 0 for 2 at the Aqueduct, and at the 1-mile distance, he is 3 for 5. So there are a few things to like about Pat on the Back, 15-1 morning line. The favorite, Maximum Security, he won the Kentucky Derby and was disqualified. Since then, he's won the Haskell, and he also won the Bold Ruler, a Grade 3 handicap against older horses. He ran fast that day, a 99 Brisnet speed figure, a little bit higher on the Buyer Boys scale. But Maximum Security trying to take on older horses with a full field. You know, he's kind of been spotted around, and he continues the slow workout pattern. I guess if you believe in his true talent, he can probably cut back and be good here at a mile. I do think he is a little vulnerable. Maximum Security is the type of horse that if he doesn't win, he could possibly run out of the money in a spot like this. Spun to Run, the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile winner. He put on an impressive effort that day. He was absolutely keyed up on the track a few minutes before the race, had a nice warm-up. His neck was bowed, and you could kind of just tell with some of that late money coming in on Spun to Run that he was going to run a big race. And a lot of that came from his big Buyer and Brisnet speed figure 2 races back, and that was at Parks. He earned a Brisnet speed figure of 108, and he also had a 110 Brisnet speed figure in the Smarty Jones. Spun to Run, probably the second favorite, very likely could win this race. He's got 2 speed figures that kind of tower over the rest of this field. Nicodemus, 20-1 off a little bit of a layoff. Linda Rice usually likes to spot them where they can be competitive, though, so she's been saving Nicodemus for this spot. And this could be a good spot because you get a couple of horses at the tail ends of their campaign. Meanwhile, if he doesn't fire here, she can get him ready for a winter campaign at the Big A. Network Effect, he's a 3-year-old like Maximum Security facing older horses and comes off a 1/2 length win in his most recent start. Speed figures are a little bit light, has always shown potential. Last year he ran in the Remsen and the Nashua Stakes, and we'll see what he can do here at a flat mile on the cutback after running 1 1/8 in the Remsen last year. He only had 1 prep this year, and that was at 1 mile. Meanwhile, looking at bikinis, a lot of people like this horse going into the Travers after a big effort in the Curlin Stakes. He ran third that day, and that was after a couple of allowance win and a maiden win to open up his career. So he brings a 3-for-5 record into this race. He ran fast at Keeneland the last time. That was a 102 Brisnet speed figure. Looking at bikinis, can come from off the pace. He has the pedigree, and he's the type of horse that could still improve with only 5 lifetime races. Meanwhile, the outsiders, Tale of Silence, he's a closer. He'll try to close late. He did run second to Maximum Security in the Bold Ruler. And on the outside, it's True Timber. You can make a case if the pace sits right. True Timber had to run in faster into that pace the last time in the Bold Ruler. I think he waits a little bit longer, and he's kind of one of my upset selections here in the Grade 1 Cigar Handicap. My top selection is going to be looking at bikinis. I've always liked this horse. I think he can come from off the pace. My second selection is True Timber, and I also like a little bit of Spun to Run in this spot as my top 3 horses. I think Maximum Security could get hooked, and also if he faces a little bit more pressure than he likes early, he could start backing up, especially as they come halfway down the lane. An exciting edition of the Cigar Handicap at the Big A. Who do you like? Leave a comment below. Don't forget, we've also got race previews of the Remsen Stakes and the Los Al Futurity and the Starlet Stakes. Hit subscribe and ring that bell for notifications as we ring you up through winter racing at the Big A, Gulfstream all across the country, and the 2020 Triple Crown Trail.